Buried beneath burning desert stone, chained in a prison meant to last for centuries, an alien dragon lay forgotten by its own kind. No one was meant to find it, no one was meant to care, until a wandering human mechanic stumbled across the impossible. In a galaxy where humans are often dismissed as fragile, stubborn creatures, what happens when one decides to fight against silence, against cruelty, and against time itself? Just to save something that isn't even his? Don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us out. The desert stretched out like a furnace without walls. Endless waves of heat, bending the air until even the horizon seemed to ripple and breathe. Sandstorms howled without warning, stripping paint from machines and patience from anyone foolish enough to linger too long. Most beings avoided this wasteland entirely, but buried deep beneath its cracked crust was something more than rock. More than ruin, it was a secret prison designed to be forgotten. The jailers were gone. The chains remained. Under layers of stone and molten history lay a dragon, not the winged myth of Earth, but a massive alien creature, scaled like obsidian glass, its body scarred and bound by alloy chains no natural force could break. Once, it had soared across alien skies. Now, it was a relic in a tomb of fire. Above that cursed place, in a prefab workshop clinging to survival, a single human worked tirelessly. He was a mechanic, the kind who never trusted silence in machines or excuses from their owners. Out here, silence wasn't peace, it was danger waiting to erupt. And lately, the desert had been whispering back to him in ways he couldn't explain. His name was Kareem Holt, though out here on the frontier, most just called him the mechanic. He wasn't a soldier, not a miner, and definitely not a hero, at least, not in the way stories usually paint them. He fixed what others broke, kept generators alive in the dust, and argued with machines like they were stubborn old friends. To the alien traders and settlers, he was just another human fragile, short-lived, endlessly persistent. They underestimated him because humans always looked breakable until the moment they weren't. A pulse, a vibration. It wasn't wind, and it wasn't tectonic rumbling. It was slower, heavier, like the steady thud of a giant heartbeat buried beneath the sand. When he mentioned it to locals, they shrugged. Old desert tricks, they said. The planet hummed sometimes. Ignore it. But Kareem didn't ignore things. His gut told him the silence wasn't natural. It was alive. And one sweltering night, as the stars bled silver above the dunes, he picked up his tools, followed that impossible rhythm, and walked straight toward the place everyone else had learned to avoid. The desert floor was cracked like old pottery, every step crunching under Kareem's boots as he followed the signal deeper into a canyon where the wind barely reached. His scanner flickered with erratic readings, heat pockets, mineral anomalies. Then, beneath it all, that same low, steady rhythm. He knelt, pressed his hand flat against the stone. The vibration thrummed through his bones. It wasn't an illusion. Something was alive down there. Kareem set to work. He wasn't equipped for full excavation, but years of patching alien rigs had made him resourceful. He cut into the rock carefully, his plasma torch whining against layers that felt too smooth, too deliberate. And then metal, not just any metal. Forged alloy, shaped into restraints. Chains. Beyond the cracked basalt, his light caught something impossible. A scale, dark as midnight glass, curved like armor. It was huge, far larger than anything that should have been trapped under stone. The air shifted, carrying the faint hiss of something struggling to breathe. That buried heartbeat grew louder, more insistent. Kareem staggered back, whispering to himself, "No way. You're not supposed to be real." But the dragon's slow pulse answered him, as if begging to differ. The sight of those chains was enough to chill Kareem more than the desert nights ever could. They weren't just restraints. They were cruel, deliberate, engineered by someone who wanted this creature silenced forever. Links fused together, muzzles welded shut, collars biting into flesh that had tried to heal and failed. Whoever had buried this dragon hadn't just wanted it imprisoned. They had wanted it to suffer. Kareem's hands trembled as he powered up the torch again. He was no warrior, no chosen savior. He was just a man with tools, and sometimes tools were enough. The first cut screamed sparks into the cavern. The alloy fought him, hissing against the heat, but he refused to stop. Every chain he severed made the dragon's pulse grow steadier, stronger, as though the beast was willing him to keep going. The work tore at him, sweat soaked his clothes. His lungs ached from the acrid smoke, but he pressed on. At one point, the dragon stirred faintly, a twitch of a limb so heavy it rattled the stone. Kareem froze. If it woke fully, would it see him as rescuer or intruder? He raised the torch again. There was no turning back now. The last weld cracked apart with a sound like glass breaking underwater. The muzzle ring clattered to the stone, and for the first time in centuries, the dragon drew a full, ragged breath. The cavern shook. Dust rained down. Kareem staggered back as one massive eye, golden and burning with ancient fury, flicked open. That gaze pinned him, small, human torch still glowing in his hands. For a moment, there was only silence. Then the dragon exhaled, a low, shuddering rumble that rolled through the chamber. Not anger, relief. Kareem lowered the torch. "You're free," he whispered, though his voice trembled. "At least, as free as I can make you." The dragon's head dipped, slow and deliberate, a gesture of acknowledgement, of fragile trust. Chains lay shattered at its feet, and yet it did not lunge, did not strike. It simply breathed, tasting freedom through scorched air. In that moment, Kareem understood. Humans weren't special because of strength or weapons. They were special because when others turned away, they stayed. They acted. The mechanic and the Dragon 2 survivors in a desert of silence stood together. Not master and servant, not rescuer and beast, an alliance born of defiance.